Here we are. Hi, Taurus. This one's for you. It's Tarot Lumination with your Jupiter and Scorpio mini report for 2017-2018. It's actually kind of a big deal. It's a year-long transit at least, and it's going to be life-changing for a lot of people. Okay? Just letting you know. Okay? So for you, Taurus, first of all, before we get into it, have a look at the board here. I'm trying to squash an awful lot into very little space in terms of time and capacity. So if you could look at Jupiter here, themes and keywords, these are classic traditional energies that Jupiter radiates. It's known to radiate this type of energy. Wisdom, higher consciousness, higher learning, the bringing down of higher consciousness into our full understanding, the great benefic, healing, 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 expansion of all things good. So think of that as fuel, and now pump that through the nozzle of scorpionic type energies over here, the raw energies of power, emotion, intensity, getting closer and closer, going deeper towards the energy of joint resources, the money and resources of others, getting into deep soul merger, especially in the energy of relationship where you've gone from third house to fifth house to seventh house relationship dynamics. And now you're deep inside the marriage type dynamic where it's all about the depth and intimacy of being inside the marriage, not just the marriage itself. Going deeper into here, ultimately through transformation and all the way down to transformational healing, the ultimate expression of scorpionic energy. So pump all that through this and let's make it happen, okay? Now, I'm not going to tell you how to interpret that. It's your business, okay? You can figure it out if you have to watch some astrology channels or something and go from there. Oh, by the way, let's do this. So for you, Taurus, this transit is kind of a big deal because it's going where? Guess what? In your seventh house of most significant one-on-one relationships. The classic one being marriage or major primary one-on-one business partnerships, contracted relationships, chosen relationships that are brought out there into the public eye by choice, by deliberation, as opposed to by default, circumstance. Okay? So it's kind of a big deal for you, Taurus, because Scorpio does represent your seventh house of significant other, the relationship, your polar opposite. So for the next year or so, you're going to go through a huge transformational experience when it comes to your most important relationships. And there's kind of no way out of it. And it could be very intense. It could take you to the depths of darkness and fear and beyond. It could involve deep soul merger, deep soul healing, and keep going, the total destruction of anything and everything that doesn't work for you in relationship in order to make room for what does work, which is ultimately an expression of transformational healing. Okay, that's for you, Taurus. So let's make the best of it. Let's have a look. I hope that made sense to you. If you have to, stop, start, rewind, play back, whatever, and watch for your sun, moon, and rising. Okay, do all of that like you do already for the other reports. Now, well, let's have a look over here. We're just whizzing along now. All right, we're going to do a little mini tarot reading for you. It's kind of like what we do on the Sunday night shows, just a few cards, and we're just going to let it tell a story. So with Jupiter, all this benevolence, all this magnificence, all this wonder, all this expansion, going above and beyond where you've ever been before, at least for the last 12 years, this could feel kind of epic. Also, it could bring you in a much higher awareness of what actually goes on in relationships in a way that really, really works, that's healthy for you. And of course, it is going to be transformational. There's no way out of it. There's no way around it. And it might be something that you are deeply craving because you resonate very, very strongly and very well with Scorpio when everything's aligned properly. It's a classic marriage of opposites. And so you could actually feel very comfortable in this world of deep soul merger in ways that other signs might really struggle because it's too deep, it's too intense, it's too powerful, it's too transformative. But for you, Taurus, it might be just like a luscious, delicious meal which you've been craving for a long time. Okay? And even allowing for the transformation that can happen here. So let's go for it. Let's just go for it, all right? Cards are already pre-shuffled, but we're going to do it again in front of you live so that you're a witness. No jumpers, no flyers, no oracles, no reversals, nothing of that, none of that. And we're just going to tell a little story and see what unfolds. We'll try to make the best of it for you, okay, Taurus? And of course, things are going to change over the year, but we're looking at entry-level themes here to get you started. So I hope everything made sense so far, and we're just going to see how the rest of this unfolds. All right, Taurus? So in some ways, apart with Scorpios, you might be feeling this more than anyone else, okay? Because it's right in your face. It's the house of the opposite, looking right at you, the reflection, the mirror. Let's have a look. We're going to cut it, and then we're going to cut it again. Let's just see how the story unfolds here. Here's your situation. And now here's the opportunity. Of course, we can't get out of that with Jupiter. It's all about opportunity. And of course, sometimes with great opportunity comes great challenge. So how are you going to handle it? How are you going to make the best of it? How are you going to make the most of it so that it all works out magnificently for you, Taurus? Before we get there, we're going to look at the weather underneath, simply because that's prevailing conditions that can influence the situation. It doesn't have to own you. You own the weather, okay? Okay, wow. It's beautiful. The High Priestess energy here, it's telling you that, well, my feeling is that it's telling you that you are now in a golden opportunity in this life period, this particular life cycle, starting right now and going on for the next year, for you to come into really into the depths of your soul like never before, Taurus, reaching the very highest levels of high frequency, like perception, where you can literally cross the veil and come in touch with the other side in ways that were never possible before, but they can happen to you now in the context of very profound, loving relationships, through the process of deep merger with another that splits open, bursts open the soul, and allows for the transformations that need to occur. Because in some ways, Scorpio and Taurus could not be more different. Taurus, you are so solid. You're so made up of tangible realities, the stuff of earth, the stuff of nature. And you love all that. That's your element. You're in your element in nature. And yet Scorpio is very, very fluid. It's not like Pisces or Cancer. So Scorpio is much more about the raw energy and the power itself, and is not necessarily so earthbound as Taurus. So in some ways, Scorpio needs Taurus as much as Taurus needs Scorpio, of course, when it's tuned properly. So because sometimes Scorpio really needs that solid grounding that only Taurus can provide at that level, because Scorpio can be so extremely far out there in terms of the energy fields, the pulsing energy fields. Now let's have a look. Let's just get on with it. Here's your situation. Okay, wow. We're coming in with big cards for you, Taurus. Look at this. Okay, High Priestess here surrounding you. It's like a strong indication that this is your chance to tune into the great beyond and own it from the core of you. You don't necessarily have to blast it all over the universe and tell everybody about it. It's like suddenly that's who you are. You are the High Priestess. You have the chance to become the High Priestess type energy, which is typically extremely subtle, very, very discreet, and has no need to propagate herself except on an as-needed basis. In other words, whatever you need to know will come to you. Whatever you do not need to know it's not yours. Whatever you need, whatever is yours comes to you. Whatever is not yours moves away. It's very, very pure. It's very, very simple. So the situation is that this is kind of like a life-altering era coming up for you, a year-long era, where with the Judgment card, you're basically you're being granted complete freedom, complete redemption, utter forgiveness for everything and all things that might have been out of alignment with you and your life to this point in time. It's like being granted the ultimate, let's say, wish to be released, to be free, to be liberated. And of course, it could be very stark at first because you might have been so shrouded and surrounded by what you consider your reality, with everything in it that had, everything that populates your world. And then realizing, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to start all over again by going through this massive transformational experience through this Jupiter and Scorpio transit. It's probably actually very delicious for you and very appropriate for you, because maybe you really need this. Maybe this is something you've been praying for and wishing for a long time, like harboring deep, deep, deep desires for liberation and reconciliation and freedom from anything and everything that may have left you feeling beholden to, let's say, grievances of yourself to others and others to yourself, where it doesn't matter anymore. It's like, bless you, bless my enemies. I bless everyone. I bless the ones I love. I'm not affected by your darkness. I'm not overwhelmed by your love and goodness. I am who I am. I'm perfectly stable. I am guided and I'm protected above. And I've just been given the green light to reboot my life from scratch, especially when it comes to the most important relationships of all. Okay, over here, where you're going to get a glimpse of what it's like to go deep. Because next year, well, we'll talk about that later. So, this is very beautiful. You're in a really good spot, Taurus. What's the opportunity here? Okay, to rise up, seize the opportunity to grab the truth, grab the reality of what's actually happening here like never before. Because you might have been going in a way that was obscured or untrue or not in compliance with the Jupiterian energies of, higher wisdom, higher consciousness. This is a real chance for you to get tuned in to the highest frequencies of consciousness. You're probably already built for this anyway, Taurus, in some way, shape, or form. Otherwise, you wouldn't be getting these cards. And it allows you to start that epic journey to integrating yourself to this high priestess. Forget the gender here, whether you're a guy or a female watching this, it doesn't matter. This is like the highest levels of spiritual advancement that you can reach. But it's very private. It's very, very personal. It's not as though you have to splatter it out there all over the world. You don't have to be like the sun card and shine that and radiate that for everybody. You just have to be that. And when your attention is required for certain situations in life, then there you are. You just mysteriously show up. It's just like magic. So this is an amazing opportunity. It is a card of opportunity. It's a card of sacred opportunity in the position of opportunity. So this is very, very powerful. It's speaking very, very loudly now, where you're going to have the chance to really, really speak your truth, live your truth, act the truth, live by the truth, live the truth by example now in your most important relationships in ways that you've never done before. And that could be quite shocking in a way, especially if you've been coming from a place where that did not exist before and the opportunity did not exist before. But it's okay. You are released, you are redeemed, you are reconciled, and you are free to start from scratch. And it could take you on quite a, let's say, a deep, deep, deep dive, deep sea diving, way into the depths, way into the depths of deep soul merger, deep soul healing, like a sense of almost total rebirth, dying and being reborn. And ultimately, that would translate into a profound form of transformational healing that you've deserved, desired, and wanted for a long time, and now it's here. It's actually happening. This is beautiful. I'm very happy for you, Taurus. What's the challenge, though? It's actually identifying the truth, calling the truth out. That's the tricky part, because you might not want to, because you might be so comfortable being your pre-existing Taurus. But there's no way out of it. The scorpionic energy here is just going to rip it up, tear away, like ripping open the seams of whatever is not true anyway. And your challenge is to like accept it and live with that and be willing to call out the truth in a situation and allow the truth to be called out on you too. It might not be comfortable. Some people see this as a bit of a disruptive card. It's like the rebel without a cause. Some people think of it as a spy card, like, oh, wait a minute, or the vigilante card, or the whistleblower card. Sometimes those energies are not much appreciated by others on the receiving end. Or like if you're behaving like a whistleblower on yourself, then fine, that's good, it's very noble. But it requires a lot of integrity here. The truth, it can't be just subjective truth, your truth. It has to be universal truth here. We're talking about universal truth. And so it's really, really important. The challenge is to, let's say, be incredibly honest with yourself and be willing to look in the mirror and call out the truth of yourself, your life, your situation, and allow it to be called out to you as well when it comes to these very, very important matters of the heart, and especially concerned with deep soul merging here in your 7th house of primary love relationships. Love and love relationships. So that's kind of a big deal. So how are you going to handle it? Oh, you're going to marry it. You're going to marry that new way of being, and you are going to own it, and you're not going to ever look back. You're going to hold up the truth as kind of like your avatar. You know, I don't know much about, games and gaming world, but it's like you could call yourself, I am truth speaker. I am truth liver. I am truth carrier. I am the embodiment of truth. And you can turn that you can parlay that into, let's say, credentials where it's understood and appreciated, and you can, let's say, bring it home. It's almost like becoming highly qualified and certified as, let's say, a symbolic high priestess, and then celebrating that in such a way with your significant other. In other words, sharing. You might have a chance to share your great bounty. Some people see this as a marriage card or an engagement card. So you might have the chance through this period to really, really come into your own highest spiritual awakenings that you've never, ever had a chance to seize before. But now it's happening to the point where you can marry that. You could marry that into your life, into your system, in a way that this whole Jupiter and Scorpio energy, you would want to marry that, to incorporate it and own it, have it inside you like DNA. And that could be very beautiful. And it could be something that could be shared and celebrated with others, so that, you can like radiate this with all this liberation, this freedom. Just be that. It's kind of beautiful, Taurus. It's really kind of beautiful. I'm very happy. I'm very happy for you. Okay. Bye-bye. Oh, watch this again if you have to. Stop, start, pause, and all that. All right. Bye.